Amesy here of Amesy's Antics. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're well today because I have a baking recipe to share with you, and one that is taking a bit of a twist on a British classic. Now, I have been getting into the Jubilee celebration spirit by doing a bit of practice baking for the big day. We're going to have a bit of an afternoon tea party with the neighbours to celebrate the Jubilee. So I have been baking for that, or practice baking for that. So in this week's video, I'm going to be showing you the making of Victoria sponge cupcakes. So taking the bigger version of the Victoria sponge and making them into small little cupcake bite-sized versions, complete with cream and jam. So if you would like to see the making of Victoria sponge cupcakes and hopefully get some Jubilee baking ideas for yourself, then let's get baking. To make the Victoria sponge cupcakes, you are going to need 175 grams of self-raising flour, 175 grams of butter, 175 grams of golden caster sugar, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then for the filling you will need some jam, 240 ml of double cream, 60 grams of icing sugar and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And this recipe has been adapted by Super Golden Bakes, and I will link it down below for you to check out as well. You will also need a mixing bowl, a baking tin for the cupcakes, as well as an electric hand mixer and a piping bag and nozzles. Before baking, it's important to preheat the oven, so preheat this to a gas mark 3 or 160 degrees centigrade. Then it's time to measure out all the ingredients ready for mixing together. So to start mixing the Victoria sponge cupcakes, first place the golden caster sugar into a large mixing bowl, and then follow this with the butter, which should be cubed and hopefully softened to room temperature to make it easier to mix. Then with the electric hand whisk, you want to beat the sugar and butter together, and this will cream them and create a very nice fluffy texture to the butter. So keep going until the texture is nice and fluffy. Next, add in the flour to the butter mixture, and I'm using a sieve just to pass the flour through to remove any hard lumps. So add this in and then begin incorporating the two together. Then it is time to add in the 2 eggs, and again try to incorporate these a little bit, and then we're going to grab the hand whisk again and really beat it all together to give it a very nice fluffy Victoria sponge batter mix. Next, add in the 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now you can use vanilla bean paste for this as well, but I only had vanilla extract in, so that's what I am using. Place the 2 teaspoons in and then give it a little bit of a whisk to incorporate it into that batter. Now I found that my cake batter was a little bit stiff, so I just added in a little bit of milk to loosen up that batter a bit more, ready for placing into the prepared baking tin. You may find yours does this or not. Milk does help just loosen it a little bit. Now I have greased my silicone tin here, and I think next time I would go for a regular baking tin rather than the silicone one, because I think it kept the cake a little bit too damp and cause some issues, which you'll see in a little bit. But spread out the cake batter evenly in the tin, and then we're gonna tap it to release any air bubbles before placing it in the oven to bake until it is nicely golden brown and springy to the touch in the middle of the cake. Allow the cake to cool down completely, and as you can see in the next clip, my first attempt fell apart and has gone a little bit stodgy. My second attempt went a lot better because I let it cool for longer. Then we're going to use either a cookie cutter or round shape. I'm using a Prosecco glass because, you know, they come in very handy for stuff like this. So what you want to do in that square bit of cake, you want to then cut out as many circular pieces as you can. Now, admittedly, doing it this way, you do get a bit of waste of cake, but sometimes that's not too bad because you get to have a little nibble on the excess pieces, don't you think? Anyway, yeah, keep going until all of the cake pieces have been cut out into circular parts. And now that the cupcake part is prepared and ready and waiting, it's time to make the filling. So in a large mixing bowl, add in the icing sugar, vanilla extract, and the double cream ready for mixing together. And we're going to use the hand electric whisk once again to whip this up into a nice pipeable consistency to add to the middle of the cupcakes. So beat this slowly initially and then up the speed as you feel fit. You want to make sure that you don't over whisk the cream, and you can see this happening. It splits a little bit if you do over whip it, but if you take it slowly and let it gradually go, it will thicken into this consistency you can see here. And to add the cream to the middle of the cupcakes, you can use a piping bag and tip like I am doing, and I think this is a closed star tip. I'm not quite sure. It is the tip you would see on some squirty cream. So you want to place it inside the disposable icing bag. If you don't want to do it in this method, then you can also just place it on with a teaspoon and try and make it look pretty. This just makes it a little bit more neater. And a top tip for placing it in the icing bag, put the icing bag over a glass and it gives you a bit of substance to push down into when you are filling it. Then use the piping nozzle and pipe small little blobs, well they're not blobs, are they rosettes? I don't know what you would call this, all the way around the edges of that little cupcake like so. And you can see some of mine are a little bit uneven, but that's the beauty of home baking. Nothing is ever perfect. Then just use a little bit of jam, and I've taken this from a jar rather than make it. Place it into a bowl to soften slightly, and then I'm just trying to place it into the middle of those cupcakes and over that cream. Try and do this as neatly as possible. Obviously I don't always do that, as you can see here. And then you want to take another piece of that round cupcake or cake that we cut out and place it on the top, and we have nearly got our Victoria sponge cake cupcakes ready, finishing it off with a dusting of icing sugar on the top. And these are ready to eat and enjoy for the Queen's Jubilee or whatever tea party you have. So there you have the making of Victoria sponge cupcakes, perfect to help celebrate the Queen's Jubilee that is coming up. Now I really like how these turn out. They are very tasty and, you know, just a small little bite of delight on that British classic of that Victoria sponge. Now you can make these a little bit differently if you want, so you can actually bake them in the cupcake cases or bun cases as we know them here in Yorkshire. So you bake them, then you would cut them in half, put the filling and then put the top back on. Or you could take out the middle, fill the middle and then put the cake bit back on. There's lots of different variations of this that you can do if you don't want to do the slab and cut it out, because there is a little bit of wastage of the cake, unfortunately. Now, some of my cake didn't bake as evenly as I would wanted, but you know, you win some, you lose some in the baking, and they still turned out delicious. I think they're yummy anyway, especially with that cream and jam filling. Who doesn't love a Victoria sponge cake? even better in a little mini mouthful. So let me know what you think of this video in them comments below, and whether you're going to be having a go at some Jubilee baking or even the Victoria sponge cake cupcakes. Put them in them comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, then please do give it a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up with all my creative and crafty antics coming up onto the channel. I have another video that goes alongside this one, and I'm going to be making some Jubilee themed cupcake toppers. So be sure to stay tuned for that one coming up onto the channel. So whilst you're there, hit that notification bell as well if you haven't already, because that will alert you each time my new videos go live. I also have a blog, Ames's Antics, which is linked down below and up above for you to check out. And there's also a little bit more information usually on the blog than goes into these videos, so be sure to check that out. And with that said, I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and week and are able to do something creative and crafty, or even baking, like making these Victoria sponge cupcakes. Anything that makes you happy and gives you a bit of joy for the week. And until the next video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!